Welcome mathematicians. In this video we'll be looking at calculating or finding the mean of a sample of data. So I have here a few equations. The first one looks at the mean value of a group of numbers, and the second is used to calculate the mean value from a frequency table, which we'll look at in more detail shortly. Now, as a starting point, the term mean is interchangeable for the word average. So when you're asked to work out the mean of a set of numbers, we're really working out the average. Let's have a look at this in more detail. First of all, let's look at a scenario. This is James. It's his 16th birthday. Happy birthday, James. And he's having a party with his family and friends. They've all come to celebrate James's birthday. Now, James, being a mathematical kind of guy, wants to work out the mean age at the party. So, first of all, how do we go about calculating the mean age of people at his party? Step one, we need to add up all the individual ages. So James knows the ages of all his family and friends up to his grandparents that are aged in their 70s. So he adds them together and he comes up with a total age at the party of 425 years. That's the first step done, where we add up all the individual ages, 425 years. Step two, we want to count the number of people at the party. So he works out there's 17 people, including himself, at the party. 17 people. And finally, step three, all we need to do is divide the total from step one, the 425 years, by the number of people from step two, 17 people. The mean age at the party is going to be 425 years divided by 17 is 25 years. Let's look at the way in which this should be represented mathematically. So first of all, the sum of all the ages, we use this value, sigma x. This is part of the Greek alphabet. It means the summation of all the x values. So in this case, the x, our values, represent age. So the sum of all our ages is 425. N, the number of people in this sample. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 17. 17 people. Finally, let's write down the equation we use to work out the mean. X is a measure of age. So the bar on the top means the mean value of x, the mean age, or the average age. So it's the sum of all the individual ages, the sigma x, divided by n, the number of people in this group. So it's 425 divided by 17 equals 25. So here's our mathematical expression we can use from now onwards to work out the mean value of any group, where x bar represents the mean, sigma x represents the sum of all values, n represents the number of values. So to answer this question for the birthday boy, the mean age of the party is 25 years old. Let's look at a couple more examples. This is Roger. He plays club cricket in a local T20 competition. He makes the following scores over 12 matches. So here's Roger's 12 matches from match 1 to 12 and the various scores he's made. Not a bad season for Roger. So the task is to calculate Roger's mean or average score for the season. So first of all, we're going to write this down. X bar, the mean value is what we're trying to calculate. That's the unknown. The sum of all his runs for this particular 12 match season is 393 runs, as can be seen in the table. The n, the number of matches played, is 12. So to work out the mean value, it's the sum of all his scores divided by the total number of matches played. So it's going to be 393 over 12, which gives us an average seasonal score for Roger of 32.75 runs, and that's rounded to 2 decimal places. If we had to round it up to a whole run, it would be 33 runs. So the answer for this question is Roger's mean or average score for the season was 32.75 runs. Example number 2. The Australian Opals, they won the 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medal. Now the heights of the playing squad is shown in the table right. So the task is to calculate the Opals' mean or average height. Same steps again. X bar, this is a symbol we use for the mean. That's our question mark. The sum of all the heights of the women in this team is 22.2 meters, and the number of women in this team is 12. So to work out the average height of this team, we take the sum of all the individual heights and we divide it by the number of women in the team. So it's 22.2 divided by 12. That gives us a mean average height of the Opals team of 1.85 meters to 2 decimal places. Our third and final example. A group of 42 year 10s were asked how many times they went to the movies last summer holidays. The summary for this information is shown to the right. This data shows that 2 students never went to the movies over the summer holidays. 3 went once, some went twice, some went 3 times, all the way up to one person went 8 times throughout the summer. So our task is to calculate the mean or the average number of movies watched over the last summer holidays for this group of 42 year 10 students. So first of all, down the bottom, I've written these all out in one straight line, a bit easy to visualize. from 0, our first student that said they didn't go to the movies at all, right through to a student who went 8 times over the summer period. X bar, the mean value, is what we're being asked to calculate. The total number of viewing of the movies was 158 movies seen. That's the sum of all the movies watched. And the number of students that went to the movies was 42. So to work out our average number of movies watched over the last summer holidays, it's the sum of all the movies watched divided by the number of people. So that's 158 movies divided by 42 people at an average or mean value of 3.76 to 2 decimal places. So the answer to the question, the mean or average number of movies watched was approximately 4. Now there is another way you could be asked this question. You could have what we have here on the right, a frequency table. A frequency table effectively takes all this data and compacts it or compresses it into a neat table. So let's have a look at what this represents. So first of all, it tells us that there's 2 students that watch no movies. Okay, so 2 students watch no movies, and there they are, 0 and 0. Next we move along, there's 3 students that watch 1 movie, 5 students that watch 2, 8 students that watch 3, 10 students that watch 4 movies, 7 that watch 5, 4 that watch 6, 2 that watched 7, and 1 that watched 8. So it's a nice way of compressing all this information. That's how we might see it at the start of a question. Mathematically in our textbook, we'd use the following headings. X is the number of movies watched, and F is the frequency of that occurrence. You can also include a third column, the XF, which is multiplying the X and the F. So that tells me there are 2 students that have watched no movies, that's a total of 0 movies watched. 3 students that have watched 1 movie, that's a total of 3 movies watched. 5 students that have watched 2 gives us an addition of 10 movies watched. 8 students that have watched 3, in total that's 24 movies watched. 10 that have watched 4 for 40, 7 that have watched 5 for 35, 4 that have watched 6 for 24, 2 that have watched 7 for 14, and 1 that watched 8, total of 8 movies. Now when we add that all together, we find 42 is the sum of frequency, or really the number of year 10s that have watched movies, and 158 is the sum of all the movies watched. So this is using a frequency table. So when you're using a frequency table, the equation is the same logic, but represented a little bit differently. So we're working out the mean value. The sum of all the movies is 158, and that's written down the sum of the product of X times the frequency F. And the sum of the frequency, or the total number of students who went to the movies, is 42. So when I divide those two values through again, I've still got the total number of movies divided by the number of people that watch them. So the mean value is again 3.76 as it was previously, to 2 decimal places. So approximately 4 movies. So the answer to our question using the frequency table approach is the mean or average number of movies watched was approximately 4. Either way works, whether you want to write out all the numbers individually or use a frequency table. Just be aware that both possibilities can be presented as a question to you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that it explains how we can work out the mean or the average of a sample of data. If you learned something from this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.